Greetings, land of the brave and beyond, and a very warm welcome to today's Cabinet Committee briefing session on this lovely Thursday morning, the 16th of November 2023. We are coming to you live and direct from the Government Information Center studios in the heart of the capital city, Windhoek. Now, Namibia, if you are tuned in for the first time, this is a national platform that is initiated by the Government of the Republic of Namibia, and it's emanating from the government communication strategy rolled out earlier in October this year. Now, the platform is initiated to serve as conduit for transmitting government information on projects, programs, policy formulations, and advancement in the respective OMAs, that is offices, ministries, and agencies of government. For this morning, though, I am your host, Heleni Felepo-Samunyela, and I am delighted to introduce to you the Minister of Labor Relations and Minister of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, Honorable Utoni Nuyoma, to present to the Namibian nation his ministerial update. Honorable Minister, once again, good morning and welcome to the Government Information Center. You may do your update.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am pleased to be given the opportunity to brief my fellow Namibians on the most important plans and program of the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, also known as MLIREC. At the beginning, I think it is important for our viewers to understand the unique constitutional mandate of the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation. Our work is rooted in and driven by the principles of state policy contained in Article 95 of the Namibian Constitution, entitled, and I quote, "Promotion of the welfare of the people," end of quote. Article 95 requires the state to promote and maintain the welfare of the people by adopting, among other things, policies aimed at the following. A, enactment of legislation to ensure equality of opportunity for women to enable them to participate fully in all spheres of the Namibian society. In particular, the government shall ensure the implementation of the principle of non-discrimination in enumeration of men and women. Further, the government shall seek through appropriate legislation to provide maternity and related benefits for women. B, enactment of legislation to ensure that the health and strength of the workers, men and women, and the tender age of children are not abused, and that citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter vocations unsuited to their age and strength. And C, active encouragement of the formation of independent trade unions to protect workers' rights and interests and to promote sound labor relations and fair employment practices. D, membership of the International Labour Organization, as we know it, ILO, and where possible, adherence to and action in accordance with international conventions, recommendations of the ILO. F, ensurance that senior citizens are entitled to and do receive a regular pension adequate for the maintenance of a decent standard of living and the enjoyment of social and cultural opportunities. G, enactment of legislation to ensure that the unemployed, the incapacitated, the indigent, and the disadvantaged are accorded social benefits and amenities. And H, insurance that workers are paid a living wage adequate for the maintenance of a decent standard of living and the enjoyment of social and cultural opportunities. In order to implement the constitutional principles, Namibia, as you know, has ratified and continues to ratify key ILO conventions which are part of our national law, and has enacted statutory framework based on ILO conventions and recommendations. This legal framework aims to achieve social justice for Namibian workers. It places emphasis on developing forward-looking policies and promoting good labor relations between workers and employers based on fairness, social dialogue, and tripartite consultation of government with its social partners, the employers, and organizations and trade unions. The framework is reviewed on a regular basis, in order to ensure that labor and employment policy keep pace with and anticipates labor market dynamics in the direction of Namibia economic and social development. The statute also provides the basis for important labor market institutions such as the Labor Advisory Council, the Social Security Commission, the Employment Equity Commission, the Employment Services Board, and the Office of the Labor Commissioner, and the Wages Commission. I will now brief our viewers on the most important plans of the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations, and Employment Creations, which derive from the social justice policy framework, which I just described and which are designed to improve the lives of the people. The United Nations Global Accelerator for Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions today, the high level of unemployment, particularly among the youth, threatens to permanently traumatize a young generation of young Namibians. In addition, most workers do not enjoy the decent standard of living that our Constitution has committed to. Therefore, my ministry top priority is employment creation. To this end, Namibia has been accepted as a pathfinder country in the ambitious and innovative United Nations Global Accelerator for Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transition, or as it's known, the GA, which assists countries to accelerate recovery from the devastating economic and social impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, and to accelerate the fulfillment of the sustainable goals, development goals. The GI requires a whole of government and a whole of Namibia approach in order to achieve measurable goals in job creation and expansion of social protection. High-level coordination of the GA will be provided by a troika of ministers of finance, Minister of Labor, Industrial Relations, Employment Creation, and the Director General of the National Planning Commission, together with 6 other ministers and the CEO, the CEO of the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, working in partnership with trade unions and employers, plus a wide range of other stakeholders supported by the UN system. The technical work will be led by a multi-sectoral Namibia country team, which includes representatives of the United Nations Resident Coordinator and of the UN agencies. Through the GA, Namibia is currently developing an ambitious roadmap to identify, introduce, and fund major programs over 4 to 5 year period that will make a significant and measurable impact in reducing youth unemployment and expanding social protection. It will also include a comprehensive program on the transition from school to work. The full program implementation is expected to be launched by September of 2024, but Namibia has already begun by accelerating and building on several existing programs. The other important program that we have embarked upon is the National Minimum Wage. Last month, I forwarded to the Labor Advisory Council for its urgent attention to report of the Wages Commission, supplemented by an ILO feasibility study and recommendations on the introduction of a national minimum wage. A national minimum wage of $18 is proposed. This proposal is the product of extensive tripartite consultation. We plan to conclude the necessary consultative and cabinet processes in order to introduce the national minimum wage by the first quarter of next year. I note that the national minimum wage is not a substitute for collective bargaining. It will benefit low-paid workers, particularly the unorganized. The wages and benefits that the union can negotiate with their members are expected to exceed these minimums. Then I will also talk about the development of Namibia's third national employment policy. The development of the third national employment policy by an interministerial tripartite task force is being assisted by the International Labour Organization. The project is being implemented in two phases. Phase one is situational analysis to inform the development of the policy has been completed, and phase two has commenced to develop the policy based on the finding and the recommendation of the situational analysis report together with an implementation plan. The other important issue I want to talk about is the employment impact assessment. The second Harambee Prosperity Plan, as it is known as HPP2, made provision that all government policies, strategies, plans, programs, and ministerial budgets should include an employment impact assessment. This means that all active labor market by the employment impact assessment reports in order to understand what types of employment, direct, indirect, and induced effect will be created during the implementations of policies or programs. This ministry is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that employment impact assessment is embedded in the aforementioned policies and programs and its coordination thereof. A capacity building plan to train government professionals to conduct an employment impact assessment is being supported by the European Union and the ILO. A basic training shop was conducted in April, and it is an advanced training workshop will be conducted later this month. Yes, I would also like to talk about the overhaul of the labor and employment legislation, amendment of the Labor Act of 2007. The tripartite task force on the comprehensive review and amendment of the Labor Act of 2007 will have its final meeting in December. I will refer the task force report and the proposed bill to the Labor Advisory Council as soon as it is available for their advice. The bill will include, among others, measures, significant reforms of the alternative dispute resolution process, a comprehensive framework for prevention and the elimination of violence and harassment at work, strengthen protection and remedies for unfair labor practices, and unlawful discrimination, expanded maternity protection, and the first step towards paternity leave. I expect the bill to be tabled in Parliament in the first half of next year. My ministry is also looking at the amendment of the Social Security Act, Employee Compensation Act, Affirmative Action Act, and the Employment Services Act. Several separate reviews has been taken of all other legislation administered by the Ministry of Labor. The work on each of the amendment bills is currently at an advanced stage. I'm waiting for the final lay drafts and explanatory memoranda, which I expect to receive not later than the first quarter of 2024, which will be forwarded again to the Labor Advisory Council with a view to tabling them in Parliament in 2024. New legislations that is planned is the Occupational Safety and Health Bill. A tripartite plus steering committee is working on the first comprehensive occupational safety and health bill in conjunction with the ILO. I expect a bill will be sent to me in the first half of 2004, and then I will forward it to the LAC. With regard to strengthened social protection, we are looking at the establishment of the Social Security National Pension Fund. This is a major project to establish a national pension fund and to introduce a national pension system that will cover all employees in the formal and informal sectors. A proposed design and a proposed governance structure has been developed and are now undergoing tripartite consultation. The project will be part of the Global Accelerator Program. We are also looking at the National Unemployment Insurance Fund. The Social Security Commission has begun on the design of a National Unemployment Insurance Fund. A possibility of provision of social protection for first job seekers will also be considered. This is also part of the Global Accelerator Program. We are also working very hard looking at a strategy for the informal economy. Work has already commenced to a program of support for and formalization of the informal economy, which will employ more than half of Namibian workers. We are working together with the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, the Bank of Namibia and the ILO on a diagnostic study to be followed by introduction of a comprehensive national strategy and the implementation plan on support for the informal economy and path to formalizations. This project will also be part of the Global Accelerator. The other very, very important project is the promotion of collective bargaining. My ministry has begun the process to develop a multifaceted strategy to strengthen the role of collective bargaining across all sectors. This includes capacity building for social partners and government, including staff of the Labor Commissioner, supportive services through the Labor Commissioner, including provision of relevant economic data and reports on collective bargaining trends in Namibia to facilitate collective bargaining and promoting and enforcing country-wide collective agreements in key sectors. We have approached the ILO and a potential development partner to assist in introducing programs in this area. I have also asked the Labor Advisory Council to advise me on what will be the best strategy to prioritize collective bargaining as the means of achieving decent work. The other important area that we are working on is support for the expansion of membership of trade unions and employer organizations. In my view, a vibrant and effective trade unions and employers organizations are a prerequisite for many facets of socio-economic development, starting with the maintenance of sound labor relations and the goal of decent work. I have requested the Labor Advisory Council, number one, to analyze the current role played by trade unions and employers organizations and the challenges facing them. Two, propose how government and the LAC constituents can best support the expansion of membership and influence of trade unions and employers organizations. Strengthening of the Office of the Labor Commissioner. Multifaceted plans have been developed to upgrade the services of the Labor Commissioner in consultation with social partners. The plan is currently being implemented. We are also looking at strengthening the work of the Labor Advisory Council, in addition to legislative reforms that will impact on the Labor Advisory Council. I have asked LAC to introduce modalities to monitor and evaluate their work on an annual basis, including an independent evaluation at the end of LAC 3-year term span. In conclusion, the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation is hard at work on many fronts to better fulfill our constitutional mandate and contribute to the improvement of the lives of the Namibian people. I thank you sincerely.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for that very insightful update. It is worth noting that government is indeed busy working at the background, and a lot is happening. We are pleased to learn about the activities that are happening in your ministry, Honourable Minister. Now, this segment right here is reserved for the media present here. If there is any of the journalists present that would like to engage the Honourable Minister, now is your time. Please step up the podium, introduce yourself and the media house you're representing today, and briefly post your questions to the Honourable Minister. Oh, okay. So in absence of questions for the Honourable Minister, this is all then the time that we had for today's discussion. Honourable Minister, unless you have anything else that you would want to add up, but I believe you said everything at the podium.
Yes, certainly. I would just like to thank you for hosting us and for giving us this platform to inform the nation on our programs and activities that we are currently undergoing. And I think this is a good platform and we must continue to engage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And your team of well-versed support system that you brought along this morning, we highly appreciate you taking time away from your busy schedules to come and inform the Namibian nation. So from myself, Hileni Philippa Samunyela, and the entire GIC crew, until next time, Namibia, goodbye.